I went to Salt Lake City, Utah. $30 million. They are riding our train all the way up in the mountains, carrying 40,000 people a day. I am a railroad lover, and I have been on the committee for 23 years. And one of the things that we're doing by 2016 is positive train control. All of the railroads have to have it, and all aboard Florida will be the first system in the entire country that will have complete positive train control. Yesterday, the final environmental piece, positive, move forward, and that is certainly my position. And every time we've had a vote on the floor of the House of Representatives, we have voted to move forward with rail. So that's where we are. We have to move our people, goods and services, and all aboard Florida. I want to thank you, and this is the first step, moving people in Florida. Thank you.
I'm a native Floridian, and I'm a business person, and in fact, I just started a new business, my own business, and the main reason I support this project is because of the economic benefits I think it provides. In short, what this will allow us to do is to live wherever we want and still do business everywhere we want, which is something we can't do right now. Ever since I was a kid, we've attracted the very best people from all over this country and all over the world. They tend to come down here at a later stage of life, and while they're awesome, you know, we have an ever-aging population in Florida. And so I want to urge us to embrace the future and ensure that Florida is a place that's progressive and seen as being on the move, and encourages new businesses and young folks to relocate here as a place that they can call home and be successful. And even though we live in one of the greatest places in the world and everybody wants to come here, transportation is actually terrible. And you cannot predict how long it's going to take you to get somewhere. And for business people, all aboard Florida solves that problem. It enhances how we can do business, where we can do business. It extends the range over which we can comfortably get things done, and it takes traffic out of the equation and gives us a reliable schedule. And most importantly, we can work while we travel. And to be efficient while you do business is the key to being successful in this century with all the technology we have. So it solves the biggest problem for us, which is travel and transportation in a safer way, a much less stressful way.
The decision here will affect the rest of the state and its future as an economic and tourist powerhouse in the Western Hemisphere. No doubt the state is growing in population, and we are falling behind in infrastructure. And what we have here is a solution for the state of Florida. I mean, we used to be the state that used to send rockets up to the moon, and now we're falling behind over for the rest of the country. And now, fast forward to the day, the rest of the country is now looking towards us and looking towards this project that we're doing. In Texas and California, also the two of the largest states in the United States, are also working on high-speed rail. And they're looking to what is Florida going to do. Now, I can understand where the fear is coming from. Now, you look outside, there isn't really a high-speed rail that's going anywhere in the United States, so no one is really used to it. But when you look at the profits that's going on in Germany and Japan and France, all those companies are making profits. The Japan East Railway Company made $20 billion in US dollars. The SNCF made $634 million. And the Deutsche Bahn Railway made $1.5 billion. Now, what doesn't make a profit is traffic, congestion, and fear. America cannot solve every problem, but this does not excuse us from the responsibility to solve the ones we can, for the benefit of our state, for the country, and for the world. So the decision is here. 50 years from now, what do we want to have our children inherit? Do we want to have them inherit fear and tell them, hey, Florida didn't have another train again? Is that what we want them to inherit? Or do we want to have them inherit the courage and say, yes, we did do it here. We did do it here, and the rest of the country followed our lead, and now we are ahead.
I came here today because I believe that All Aboard Florida is one of the most important and transformative projects ever proposed for our state. Though the media would have you believe otherwise, there are those in the Treasure Coast who support the development of the system and believe that All Aboard Florida will have a long-term positive impact on our local communities as well as the entire state. I continually am amazed over the misinformation being disseminated by supposedly intelligent people who tried to tell us that the investor-owned private activity bonds somehow put taxpayers at risk. This form of finance places all the investment risk on the private participants who are capable of fully assessing the opportunity. We should not reject it based on objections of a few who wish to see time stand still. For all aboard Florida, I urge you to support all aboard Florida's application. Chairman and board, and ladies and gentlemen, this is a game changer for the state of Florida, and I think we should seize the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you.
The fact that this project is going to use clean energy and remove 3.5 million cars a year off from I-95, the Turnpike and other expressways, would drastically reduce CO2 emissions, NO2 emissions, and other harmful emissions, preserving our great endeared wildlife and ecosystems in Florida, especially the Everglades and the coral reef systems with their species in the Great Florida Reef off the Florida Keys. This project would also greatly reduce stress on the ozone layer, which would be a huge reduction in human-influenced climate change. The evidence for this project's enormous help on the environment is that with the project in place, it will reduce CO2 emissions every year by 1,100 tons for every mile. Now imagine how less stressed the environmental ecosystems will be with this project in place, particularly for the Everglades and the Great Florida Reef. Even for those who continue to drive instead of taking the train will be benefited by the train project itself, because there will be a lot fewer cars on the road, which means a lot less traffic. Also, as a sufferer of an autism, those with autism as well as those with other disabilities would also benefit from this project. Many of those would not be able to drive because, for example, 39% of autistic sufferers also suffer from epileptic seizures, and many people with autism have considerate motor issues. All aboard Florida's trains are going to be the only disability-friendly and ADA-compliant train in the world, with a wide beam design made specifically for wheelchairs. So if you fund bonds to all aboard Florida and support it, you would help people like me, everyone else, and just about everything that makes Florida economically and environmentally a great place to be. Thank you.
Thank you.
Darius, how do you feel about today?
I really feel that I made an impact on this project.
We really need more of this generation, like our people, to really stand up. Millennials need to stand up and start fighting for transportation, rail transportation of this kind, because this is the future of the country. It doesn't matter if it's maglev or rail, it needs to be in here, it needs to be now.
Thank you for watching. Please like and be updated about future videos. Subscribe to our channel.